Hey guys, what's going on? Jake here, and welcome to part 2, race 2 of the Cadillac Road to Glory. And we join here in quick practice for the Bahrain Grand Prix. This is normally quite a strong track for the AI, and we are going in again on 105 AI. So I'm expecting this race to be a lot more difficult than last time out when we managed to get P3 in the Australian Grand Prix, which is a track I am very good at, to be fair. But P3 in Australia was absolutely crazy, and we definitely could have got P2 if it wasn't for that time penalty. So we're coming into this race with a lot of ambition. A lot of the speculation in the paddock is this could be a front-running team. This could be a title challenge. I mean, maybe not with McLaren, but this could be a title challenge. So let's see if we can live up to the pace expectations as into qualifying we go. And as always with our first laps, we don't show the full thing. We just show the final bit of the lap. And yeah, I know my F1 videos aren't too long. I know we could have done things like showed you upgrades and things like that, but it's all so fiddly and complex and things that the upgrades are just going to happen in the background. I mean, when it comes to F1, I 100% care more about the racing than I do the sitting in the menus and upgrading facilities and doing activities and signing staff and things like that. The only thing I care about is the drivers I'm signing, the races I'm putting on, and that's all I care about. I care about the racing on an F1 game, not the menu stuff. And that's why I was a bit nervous about starting this series when I saw how complicated the menus were. But as I said, last time out, we are getting used to it. So today we aren't going to talk as much about the context of F125 and how good it is and what I like and what I don't like. Today we're just going to talk purely about the gameplay. As into our quali lap we go. Into the first corner. Not quite kissing that apex. We do run a bit wide, but it was better than our first run and we found quite a bit of time. We're now 1.5 temps up, deploying ERS onto this straight, which is a DRS straight. And we are now 2 temps up by the time we get to pretty much the end of the first sector. We ride that curve a little bit. It costs us a little bit of time, but the exit is really nice. We got on the power nice and early. We're now up to 2 temps gained through the first sector, hitting the S section here beautifully. I love that they've changed the outside curb into being rideable this year. It makes it so much nicer. And as we come towards the end of the middle sector, we are now we're still 2 temps up. We definitely could have had a bit more time in this lap so far, but it is what it is. And there's no one else out on the track right now, other than I think a random Haas or my teammate. And we are driving as Jarno Opmeer this weekend. Instead of driving as Colapinto, we are going to drive as Jarno Opmeer. And we are now, as we come into the final corner, we're now 3 temps up. And it's not amazing, but it's also not terrible. We definitely can find a bit more time in this lap if we hook it up. There's definitely at least a couple more temps in it, but up to the line, that was a really nice final corner. 4 temps up. We were P15, we go to P12 only, but just behind Leclerc, which isn't promising. But here we go, final lap of the session. Everyone else is out on track and through the first few corners. We are a couple milliseconds down. But we brake a bit later into that corner, ride that curb more, but aim to get on the power earlier, and we do so, gaining 3 thousandths into the first sector. So it is an improvement, and we are taking that middle section nicely, but we get on that curb. It gives us a little bit of time, though. We do run a bit wide, obviously no strict corner cutting limits, but we are now 2 temps up coming out of the first, the difficult part of the track. It's now pretty much all straights for the rest of the lap. We don't take that very nicely though, and it costs us a lot of time on the running, but we have to use a bit of our ERS to recover it. And as we come through now towards the final S section of the lap, could you really call this next section? Yeah, not really, but as you come through to the final flowing section of the lap, we are now only 2 temps up. There is definitely a lot more time in this lap, and we actually get a snap of oversteer, and we run wide there, which isn't helpful as well because we had to let off the power to avoid invalidation. And as we come to the final corner, it needs to be good, and we actually lost time on entry to the corner. We gain a tiny bit on exit, but it's only going to be 2.5 temps gained, and that is going to put us only P15. And I know Bahrain's a really good AI track, but that's a poor performance. I genuinely think I had maybe 2-3 temps in the bag there. That would have put me in the top 10 comfortably. So now that I look at it like that, I just need to hook up my laps every single weekend. If I hook up my laps every weekend on 105 AI, I can definitely pull off some really good performances in quali.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Tsunoda, George Russell, and Piastri. Gasly, Antonelli, Leclerc and Jack Doohan, Ocon, Sainz, Fernando Alonso and Albon, Opmeer, Hulkenberg, Ollie Behrman and Lance Stroll, Colapinto, Lawson, Hadja and Gabriel Bortoleto rounds off the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? And alongside me
So yeah, no penalties. We are just starting off straight up P15, and we are going to go for a two-stopper. But I was going to do medium hards, and then I looked and saw that everyone was starting on softs other than my teammate and a few others. And then I was like, I should probably just start on the softs. So I think we're going to do soft, medium, hards for this race because I didn't want to be dogged down at the start and be getting absolutely mauled for the first few laps. Or else I probably would have dropped to the back and been awful on pace. I need the track position early on, and I need to be sitting in DRS early on to actually have a chance of competing in races. So yeah, as I've done every race, we have formation lap on broadcast, which is cool. So it means that I don't actually have to drive around and try and warm up the tyres unrealistically. I can just watch this and see this nice graphic. So we've got Ocon on hards, Hulkenberg and Behrman on hards, along with Bortoleto. But Colapinto and myself are on softs, according to this graphic. So everyone else on softs, and then a few cars on hard. So it'll be interesting to see how the Hasses and the Sauber of Hulkenberg do in this race, being on the hard compounded tyres in this first stint. Maybe they're trying to one-stop, but I don't know. But we are going for the soft to the medium to the hard strategy. So we are forming up now to make the starting grid. And I'm very optimistic for this race because Bahrain normally has some good battling, but the AI pace is just so crazy. Their straight line speed is normally crazy and stuff. So we're going to have to be on it. Like from second 0 of this race, we're going to have to be on it. Okay. So here we go. It's the Bahrain Grand Prix. I'm super excited. Round 2 of the F125 season. It's 5 red lights in Bahrain, and it is lights out, and away we go. And it's a bit of a slow reaction from me, to be fair. I could have gone quicker, but we haven't lost any places yet on the start. But we are now being swarmed by the Hasses. We are, of course, because it's Bahrain, going to jump to the inside and launch it down the inside. Absolute Bahrain heritage as we dive down the inside of Kimi Antonelli, touching Kimi Antonelli, but we are going to get off him eventually, let him through, and we are up from P15 to P12. It's not a bad start whatsoever. But there are plenty of overtaking opportunities on this first lap, and the next one will be coming up very, very soon. As we almost run into the back of Kimi Antonelli. Oh my word, everyone braking so early there. We should have definitely gone for a lunge if I'd have realised they were going to brake that early. But we aren't going to make the same mistake twice. If everyone's going to brake early, you know what? Let's just send it down the inside, and we're going to do that exact thing down the inside. Someone locking up further ahead, not once but twice, as we go down the inside and try to squeeze Kimi Antonelli out. We are going to have to use a bit of ERS as always on lap 1, but we end up squeezing Kimi Antonelli out. Ooh, a bit of a touch with Ocon, but no damage. Ocon is on the hard, so I would like to get past him sooner rather than later, and eventually we do. And now we are on to lap 3. The softs aren't looking too pretty, I'll be honest with you. We are sat behind Jack Doohan, who is in P9, and then his teammates up the road. So we're looking to take down both Alpines today. And we've got Ocon sticking with us on the hard, so clearly showing a bit of a shift in pace. But Antonelli can't get anywhere near us right now in that Merc, which is, you know, I don't know what to say really. But we are going to let Ocon through. But at the same time, I want to get Jack Doohan. I know Ocon's the quicker car of the three, so I'll be very happy as long as we get Doohan. Even if we keep ahead of Ocon for now, I'll be happy. And that looks like exactly what's going to happen as we go round the outside of technically both drivers and keep ourselves, or get ourselves up into P9 and leave them two to fight behind. Ocon is still sat behind us, and on lap 4 going on to lap 5, I've had enough of these softs. We're on like 50% or 40% wear, and they are really bad. So we're going to go straight on to the hards and we're going to try and end on a good medium stint at the end, or if we're really struggling, go to another set of hards if needs be. So that means we are going to have to put in a 14 lap shift potentially on these hard tyres. So let's see if we can do it. Is it going to be a good pit stop from the crew? Once again, we have a wheel stop. Brilliant. So we have a twice as long pit stop. Remember that important information. 2.5 seconds is what we just lost in that pit stop. So let's see, by the time everyone else pits, what 2.5 seconds has cost us. Because obviously we're going to get an undercut, but it's going to be interesting to see how much we lost extra from that dodgy pit stop. And we're going to be coming out, it looks like, ahead of Ocon still, potentially. Yeah, we're still out of Ocon. But 2.5 seconds would have put us in the fight with Gasly and Piastri. In, like, I think they're fighting for 8th. And then obviously once other drivers pit, potentially a bit higher. That's crazy. That 2.5 seconds was a lot. And we've now got Ocon on the mediums right up our chuff. He went off the hards quite early, to be fair. Or actually, it might have just been a while. No, Ocon pit quite late, I remember. So Ocon just goes flying through. He's on much fresher mediums. And if I can just sit with Ocon for a few laps, I'll be happy. And to be fair, we do that perfectly. And we've actually managed to use Ocon's pace to catch up to Yuki Tsunoda. And this is absolutely fantastic for me. Just going to be able to sit behind these guys. A few other cars pitting that are trying to one-stop. So yeah, they're fighting now into turn 1. We're playing this strategically. There are some guys trying to one-stop today. Including my teammate who has also tried to one-stop. So we'll see how he's done with that strat. But we are just sitting behind the Tsunoda train with Ocon. Currently, they're running quite high. But we decide that on the same lap as Tsunoda, we are going to pit. We're going to leave Ocon out on his fresher tyres of almost 60% on that rear left, which is absolutely mental. We need a good pit stop this time, though. We're going to go straight onto the mediums for our final stint and push like hell to the end to try and make up some positions. We are fighting with Tsunoda, so let's see what we can do. As we are in and out with a 2.5 second stop, let's see if we can keep up with Yuki. We are going to warm the tyres up first, so that's normally a pain. And as you can see, weirdly enough, Tsunoda has pulled away from me. I mean, he is in a Red Bull, I know, but he has pulled away from me, which is fair play. But yeah, it must have been really hard. I remember actually it was really hard to warm the tyres, and we lost quite a bit of time through that. But we have shown good pace. Ocon's behind us on fresh softs, which is crazy. And we are trying to overtake a McLaren of Oscar Piastri for P8 in this race. And we do so. Round the outside of Oscar Piastri we go and up into P8. But he's in a bloody McLaren. I don't know why there's McLarens and Red Bulls in P7 and 8, lads. But it's just the life we have to deal with. Very quick cars up in these positions. And we are going to keep the position over Piastri and stick into P8. But there is a yellow flag, and as soon as we made that overtake on Piastri, he spun. And I know he went for that lunge down the inside. I'm not 100% sure if I made contact with him. And as you're going to see, by the time and there's a safety car deployed with only 3 laps to go. And by the time I look, all I can see is Piastri just span round. Now, I'm not sure if I caused that or not, but no matter what, it was a racing incident. It was my corner. I was ahead. He should have backed out. And as far as I'm concerned, no penalty for that decision or for that incident. But the safety car was weird. It only went on for about a lap and it didn't let everyone catch up. So that means that it made it impossible for me to maybe get loads of positions. But it's made it possible for me to get Tsunoda because I managed to catch up to him, but he didn't catch up to Gasly, which is weird. I was like, oh yeah, we can get P6 here. We can definitely get Gasly in a slower car. But it looks like we're just fighting Tsunoda and we have 2.7 seconds to Ocon. So we have this lap and one more to go. And straight away off the safety car restart, we're going to go round the outside of Yuki Tsunoda. Going to try hang around the outside of the Japanese driver and get ourselves up into P7, which is a very solid result considering we started 15th. And maybe we can try set off after Gasly, but we're going to have to avoid fighting, which is exactly what isn't happening right now. As Yuki Tsunoda, he looks like he's going to make the move, and he could happen to Tsunoda or happen to Piastri, but he actually backs out this time. So I'm not actually sure if Piastri made contact with me or if he just made a mistake, but I'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it does look like we have okay pace, but unfortunately that pace isn't enough to catch Pierre Gasly. And as we go on to the last lap with DRS enabled, Yuki Tsunoda has come back past us, and Gasly's gained 6 tenths on us. We just didn't really have the pace. It seems as if the hards are finally quicker in this final stint, so we've been catching Gasly the whole stint, and now Gasly was back ahead of us. But now we've got Ocon with us as well, pretty much. And we've got Yuki Tsunoda looking down our inside. We have the DRS, but we still can't stay ahead. We brake later, fortunately, and managed to stay ahead. Will we be able to hang on for the rest of this lap for a really good P7? Let's find out. As into the final sector, not only Tsunoda, but Esteban Ocon on his fresh sauce is here. I don't think Ocon's close enough to get us both, but Tsunoda most certainly is. We have 50% ERS, but let's see what happens. We are on the straight. We are deploying ERS. Let's see what we can do. There is a fastest lap on the last lap from Verstappen and a win for Lando Norris. And me and Yuki Tsunoda have made contact. And through goes Ocon. Ocon takes P7. We stay ahead of Tsunoda. But oh my word, it's gonna be how it finishes. Ocon slides through for a fantastic P7. Gasly P6 for Alpine. And I finish off in P8 ahead of a Williams of Albon and Yuki Tsunoda, I'm pretty sure was the final running. And, yeah, we're going to have to look at that incident again, but I'm pretty sure that I just veered into him while under braking. I don't know why I did that, and I was tempted to use a flashback, but I was like, I've barely used any flashbacks this race, and you know what? It's my fault. Let's just hang it out and give myself some consequences, which is exactly what's going to come.
That's 2 wins in a row now. It's the start of potentially something special, but they can't get ahead of themselves just yet. It's a long way to go.
And with that, we wrap up another weekend.
So yeah, lads, in the end, starting P15, we ended up finishing P8, and in the end, as I said, Albon went in between myself and Tsunoda after that incident, and Ocon slid through. Colapinto finished 14th from 19th, so clearly showing that the car has some decent race pace. And we're going to have a look at that incident with Yuki Tsunoda, as I'm very intrigued to see what went on. Currently trying to figure out the settings, but leave me to it, as we skip all the way through to lap 29, where I am having that battle with Yuki Tsunoda. So we're going to skip through the lap. This is pretty much what happened throughout the lap, as you're going to see. I mean, Tsunoda backs out of that move. I run a bit wide. I'm going a bit wide everywhere. The tyres were pretty much dead at this point, but Tsunoda sticking with me. We get a good exit there. He's not able to get me on this straight with his DRS. Backs out of the move again. And then we come into the S section. He gets a really good run out of that corner. He's coming around the outside, and as you can see, he sticks to his racing line, and I've clearly veered across him under braking, taking off his front wing end plate, and just, we both lost a position, but he's lost 2. And now, I don't know if I look at my POV for the steering wheel, but I think it was definitely, most definitely my fault for that collision, and therefore there are going to be some repercussions for this incident. It is still solid points. It's not going to be a time penalty because the race is over. But what it is going to be, and it is some pretty serious punishment, is that Jarno Opmeer has been banned from qualifying for the Miami sprint race. Now, that could be crucial. A sprint race doesn't give you much time, and it's in Miami, a track which I'm not particularly the best at, especially last year. I was good at it the years before, but last year I wasn't great. Still a good result regardless, though. We got some points on the board again, consistently scoring points, but it's a disappointment, as we are going to have a qualifying ban, which means we are going to have to once again drive as Opmeer to make sure he serves his quali ban. So I'll see you all next time in Miami with Opmeer.